And even though I wasn't personally that stuff was starting to bother me. I'm speaking to my peers.
Sitting inside his patrol car, he took to Instagram last week and posted this nearly 9-minute video.
I'm seeing people arrested or cited for going to church.
That got the attention of his chief.
I don't have a bad thing to say about the Port of Seattle.
No one with the agency would answer our questions or give us more details, but sent us a statement saying, the officer is currently on paid administrative leave pending investigation. The port does not comment on pending personnel matters. Anderson says he's being accused of insubordination because he's refusing to take down the video.
Do you believe Governor Inslee is doing anything right to keep people safe in Washington State?
No, I'm not getting, like I said before, I'm just going to let my message speak for itself.
While Anderson has his critics, he says surprisingly, most of his supporters are fellow officers.
I've been getting contacted by police officers all over the country saying thank you.
For now, he's focusing on other ventures like his jiu-jitsu academy and considering a career with other law enforcement agencies, just in case.
Some of them are recruiting, like, hey, my chief or my sheriff says you have a job here, so we'll see how it all shakes out.
Anderson is now preparing for a hearing in the next couple days that could determine his future with the agency.
Hey, what's up, Instagram? Just wanted to make a quick video and touch base with everyone and say that the amount of outreach and support and emails, texts, calls, it's been incredible. The overwhelming majority of it has been all positive, so that's pretty cool. One thing that I think needs to be said, and I wanted to share that ASAP, is that I got a lot of people in my corner right now, and it's greatly appreciated. And if you're compelled to voice your displeasure to the Port of Seattle, obviously that's your prerogative, and whatever you think makes the most sense, go ahead and do that. But with that said, I'd like to remind everybody that the dispatch center that responds to emergency calls has been receiving, I've heard different numbers, but they've been receiving like 100 calls an hour with people voicing their displeasure for what's going on with my situation. So regardless if you agree with me or you disagree with me, people, we've been hit up quite a few times. My wife has been, because she's the beneficiary on the account that her friend Jessica set up, and people just asking questions if it's legit and if the money's actually going to go to me. I just wanted to assure you guys that that was in fact set up by a friend, and we will be receiving that money. So, we went through all the comments and donations last night and looked through it, and it's just absolutely incredible that this many people around the world, not even the United States, around the world, are rallying behind us and willing to help us out. So, there's 10 times more money in there than we ever imagined, and it's pretty overwhelming because, when in your life do you think something like that's going to happen to you? So it's greatly appreciated, and I just want to assure you guys we'll be doing some pretty special stuff with that money, and I'll be sharing that with you guys through Instagram when that takes place at a future date. So thanks.
What's going on, guys? This is the GoFundMe account for Greg Anderson. It's at $368,103. Their goal was $50,000. It started off at $20,000. I guess they raised it another $30,000 when they saw they were getting money. Anyways, this was set up by their neighbor, the wife's best friend, Jessica McLaughlin, is organizing this fundraiser on behalf of Jenny Anderson. She's a community and neighbors. I'm setting up this GoFundMe for my best friend's husband, Greg Anderson. He recently made a video urging officers to stand for their liberty and integrity. The video has gone viral and has been positively received across the nation. You can view the video below. His apartment, the Port of Seattle Police, is in the process of termination as the video was deemed a violation of policy. I am attempting to raise funds for them as they are going to seek legal representation and to help cover any costs that the unforeseen future brings during this drastic change in their lives. Thank you for your kind words and support. Now, I saw that GoFundMe when it first started. I chose not to include it in my video. A, because 25 million people are out of work. People need their money. And B, I don't know who that person is. So they started off with a goal of 20,000. When they saw they were getting 20,000, they went to 50,000. And they're saying it's for a lawyer. Now, I would bet a dime to a donut that he's going to be represented by the union. That's why he pays his union dues in. Now, I understand he talked about the union, and it made it seem like, the union was on the side of the administration. That's not the case. The union's going to pay for its legal representation. I would almost 100% guarantee that. Unless you can find something that says they're not. But he's made over $300,000. I think you guys should stop donating to him. And not only that, if you watch him in the beginning, he's telling people, well, I appreciate all this. If you would stop calling 911. What you need to understand, Mr. Officer Anderson, even though what you did, regardless of if it's a trick or it's the truth, you galvanized the nation, right? You gave the nation a reason to stand together and say, look, even police officers are standing against other police officers. This is obviously corruption. That being said, it doesn't really matter if he's telling the truth or not. It only matters that it has bring the nation together. He's not the point, right? He's as much of the point as Rodney King was for the 1992 LA riots, right? If that happened in a vacuum, nothing happens. But it happened because the town was soaked in kerosene. And that was just a match that lit the fire. If it wasn't that, it would have been something else. He's as much responsible for all this as the reason everybody thinks we went to war in the Civil War. It was about the South not wanting to take orders for the more populated North, knowing that those people have never been on a tobacco farm or a cotton farm. That's why they wanted to succeed. He put at Joe Rogan, at Jocko Willenick, which Joe Rogan, obviously everybody knows, but Jocko Willenick is also a somewhat famous person off the top of my head. He's some kind of famous military person. But from the beginning, he was putting at these famous people, so they would see it. He went on tape and he said what everybody's been saying that's not in a police uniform. Okay, he's not the point here. He's not the point. You know, he didn't create any of this. He didn't. If it was done in a vacuum, you would never hear about it. But the point is, the nation has been soaked in gasoline. The varnish is rubbed off on law enforcement. No longer are they looked to as the moral authority, the moral compass, right? When you read their mission statement, it's just all nonsense. Nothing is any way that they actually conduct themselves in the street. So, I would just say stop giving them donations. I mean, you could give donations to, there's a lot more people that you give donations to that will work. And furthermore, they're saying that donation is for his legal fees. If the union does cover his legal fees, is he going to give that money back? So if the union takes over and pays for his lawyers, why? Which I can't see why they wouldn't. There's been 10 times more egregious things done than this. And that's why you have a union. That's why you pay union dues. You know, they provide you with legal counsel in a time like this. And there's been much more bigger atrocities and constitutional rights violations than this ever could be. And the union stood right next to him. I can't see why the union would not pay this legal fees. But if he's asking for money under the guise of legal fees, then if his union pays those legal fees, I believe he owes people that money back, right? I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but he's getting it way over his head where he starts telling people, don't call 911, da, 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 da. It's not about you, dude. We've been here for a while. Like, we've been doing this for a while. You just had a shiny tin badge on when you said what everybody else said. And you got your 10 seconds, but it's not about you. And I would implore him to give the money back if it's not being used on legal fees. And unless you're paying a lawyer $300 some odd thousand, I think you owe people a refund. Not to say that it's your fault, But at some point, you should just cut it off because people are hurting. You had a job, right? You were essential. There's a lot of us that are not essential that have no job at all. Somehow we're getting by. Like I'm sure you'll make it. And this is nothing personal against him, but I just think this is going in the wrong direction. Where it's more focused on him than the message. And nothing he said was new in there. We've been saying that for years. He just had a shiny tin badge on. So again, guys, have a happy and healthy week. I'm going on tour next week. Going to Philadelphia, New Jersey, Baltimore. And I'm selling Don't Worry, ... I'm Essential Too. Number 2 in the Disorderly Product News decal collection. The link will be in the description. Minimum donation of $5. There's no way around it. I'm not the channel that asks for money. In fact, I turn it down sometimes. But there's no way around it. This is going to cost money. But if you have an idea of a town you want me to come to, contact me at constitutionalkevlar@gmail.com. Be leaving next week. There'll be other activists out there with me, and then some surprise activists. But it is the Don't Worry, I Am Essential 2 tour, taking over Tyranny, Reagan, and DPN, Traveling Nation. First leg's obviously the East Coast. We might do a second leg, the West Coast. Anyways, I want to wish you and yours a happy and healthy week. Remember, cover your mouth when you cough, practice social distancing, stop giving money to a police officer that owns a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym and 2 houses and has $350,000. And good night.